I've been in this field for 50 years this year. So I never set out to be a designer. I became a designer by accident. And it really arose because I studied literature, BA, masters, and also very interested in history. So I'm essentially a research-based designer. And that's how I like to work, research an area, read everything that there is on that place. For instance, I give you an example. When I was I've designed the Parliament building in Bhutan. So this was a whole new area of research for me, because at that time, talking about before you were born, in 88, 90, when I finished, there was so little that was known about Bhutan. So to travel through the country, it really is the last Shangri-La, to travel through the country, to research its architecture, to research its many, many craft traditions. So that's what keeps me very, very excited about in a project. And then, of course, it's created and it's there, and then I worked on it with my daughter, who's an architect, in 2010 again, because then in Bhutan they held the first SARC summit over there. And if I'm doing something like, say, I've done a lot of conservation restoration work on the British buildings in New Delhi, starting from Rashtrapati Bhavan, which is presidential palace, and Hyderabad House, and some of the bungalows which were built by not Lutyens but by somebody called Sir Robert Russell. So that has been a sort of investigation into Edwardian architecture. And my work in Egypt is different. I've done many hotel boats for the Oberois and hotels. And so that has had to do with that culture. I mean, it's just that I'm an Indian, but I work with, it could be different people. So I guess I would say that the cultural milieu of where I am working is my inspiration.
In the presentation that you just had a while back, you showed us this very rich history of India and how passionate you are with the details of it. I'm not Indian and I saw it very insightful, like I had a very nice background of it. Can you please explain a bit more about Kala, the book that you just presented, and the influence of Indian architecture with your work?
Kala, as I explained, is the only word that exists in any vocabulary which encompasses architecture, art, craft, the written word, everything. That's why I chose this title. And Kala is, it's a coffee table sized book, but it is far from a coffee table book as we understand it, because the contributors to it are so eminent. And and I'm very fortunate that this book is launched in Milan to huge success, in London, then in New York in November, in Kathmandu, and now hopefully at the Lahore Literature Festival. So that's Kala's journey, which will of course continue, and maybe in Argentina if I get invited. Why not?
One final question. What do you tell prospective designers? What do you advise young and upcoming designers?
I never presume to advise anybody, because I think the young are very wise, and it's not that age creates wisdom. As they say, education should create knowledge, and knowledge should create wisdom. But believe me, age has nothing to do with wisdom. So I won't presume to advise. The only one thing I could say is that the young today are very impatient, They're very impatient, they want instant success, instant everything. But there is no alternate to hard work, sincerity, and knowledge.